Hi guys! Today I'm really excited to talk to you about Disney's Cruella, one of the darkest Disney films out there. I really loved it. You probably already know that if you checked out my spoiler-free review. I also have an interview with one of the stars, John McCrae, who plays Artie, but this is going to be a very spoiler-filled video. So if you have not already seen Disney's Cruella, either in theaters or at home safely on Disney+, then listen, don't watch this unless you want spoilers, because as with most of my most emotional moments videos, or all of them I should say, I am going to dive into, you guessed it, the most emotional moments of the movie, many of which are major spoilers. So just be prepared. I'm going to discuss spoilers. If you don't want any spoilers for Cruella, stop this video now, but please do come back after you have watched it. I'm curious if you agree with me. Down below in the comments, feel free to drop some spoilers, guys. Give me your most emotional moments. What moments got you? What made you laugh hysterically? What made you jump with glee? What made you cry hysterically? There's so much that we can talk about in Cruella. I'm excited to give you my most emotional moments. But before I get into it, if it's your first time here, I'd love it if you take 1 second and hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the content, go ahead and hit that notification bell. All right, let's talk about Disney's Cruella. Hey, Tessa from Mama's Geeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. Okay, guys, so if this is your first time watching one of my 10 most emotional moments, do you like that little dance? 10 most emotional moments? Anyways, if it's your first time watching one of these videos, know that I do put them not in order of how emotional they are, but in order of more or less, as per my memory, that they occurred in the movie. So this is not ranked like this is the least emotional moment, this is the most emotional moment. These are just the 10 most emotional moments. And remember, emotions can cover a long range of emotions. It just doesn't mean when I became a sobbing mess, which there were actually a couple moments in this movie where I did, but it covers all emotions. So let's talk about it. These are the 10 most emotional moments, in my opinion, in Cruella. Like I said, go ahead and drop yours down below. Let's line up. Let's see if we have any of the same ones. So first up is, you guys, I just got to put it out there. It's the first mention of Cruella. When she's a little girl and her mom says, "Your name is Estella, not Cruella," I was like, eee! And I got really excited just knowing what we were going to dive into. We're going to get the transformation of Estella into Cruella. It was very much obvious at that point, and it made me really, really excited. Plus, she's sitting there rocking that black and white hair. Come on, that was amazing. And I just absolutely loved that moment. I was over the moon excited. I was like, yes, we're hearing the word Cruella. We're hearing her name already. It was very exciting. So it was a great way to kind of kick off the movie because it happens fairly quickly. I want to say within the first 10 minutes, maybe even less. So that was definitely an emotional moment for me. I was like, that's when I knew I was all in on this movie. That's when I knew I was all in. So next up is, oh gosh, when Cruella's mom dies. You guys, this was so... because Cruella, you can tell Cruella immediately is like, this is all my fault. I mean, she went into this ball where she wasn't even supposed to be, and then the dogs chase her out, and she lays down, and they jump over, and she watches her mom, like, in slow motion go off the side of a cliff. It was horrible, you know, and that's so much for a little kid to, like, take on, right? I have 2 young daughters, so I could just imagine how they'd be feeling, and then eventually... immediately after that, pretty much, she meets Jasper and Horace, which is fantastic. But that moment where she watches her mom die is just heart-wrenching. And I shed a few tears. And I was like, we're what, 15 minutes in? And I'm already like, I'm in it. Again, like I said, as soon as I heard the name Cruella, I knew I was in it. Now I'm watching this and I'm already shedding tears for this girl I barely know. I mean, listen. That is when you know a movie is good and it's got you. So that moment definitely was, it pulls at the heartstrings, you know? Especially when you think of that little girl all alone now. Luckily, she's not alone for too long. But that moment's definitely emotional when she watches her mother die. So next up is a moment that made me really happy for Cruella and excited for her. I guess I should say Estella, because she is Estella at this point, is her birthday gift. So Horace and Jasper have been with her this whole time, and Horace is just absolutely hilarious and definitely the comedic relief of the movie, but Jasper is for sure the heart of the film, and he's been paying attention to her through all these cons. He knows every time they walk by Liberty of London, she stares, she like longs to be a part of it. She wants to be a fashion designer. That's what she wants. So, you know what? for her birthday, he does a little bit of, not so nice, not so good things. It's definitely a con, but he gets her a job, and you could just see her face light up. And I loved that moment because in that moment, I was just so happy for Estella to have a job at her dream place and maybe start designing, although we find out very quickly she's just literally cleaning bathrooms and stuff like that. But it was just a great moment, and it made me happy. And it's a moment that happy, that's the word. I got very, very happy for Estella. So definitely an emotion-filled moment. It was great. Plus, it's kind of funny with Horace just sitting there asking what the angle is when there was no angle, Horace. There was no angle. The next most emotional moment is when Cruella gets noticed by the Baroness. So, of course, she's been trying so hard. Please let me show you some designs. Let me design the window. Let me do something. And her boss is just, no, you are just a maid here, basically. No way. And so she decides to stay late one night and get drunk and do it anyways, which, by the way, that window looked fantastic. And the Baroness notices, comes in and says, this is the best window you've had in years. And she hires Cruella and says, come work for me, or I should say Estella. And I loved that moment because, again, you're just so happy for her. And she goes and she talks to her mom, the fountain where she talks to her mom, and she's like, she noticed me and now I've got this job. And you can tell just how excited she is because that's what she wants, is to be a fashion designer. And, of course, her life got off track when her mother was killed. So that was a really great part. I love that part when she gets noticed by the Baroness and all right, here we go. Let's get into it. Like, this is where stuff's going to start to really start to flow, and I can't wait for it. So the next moment that is just probably one of my favorite moments in the entire movie, even though it was seen in the trailer and I watched it time and time again before even watching the movie, is her entrance into that black and white ball. When she embraces Cruella, she says Estella can't go to the party, oh, but Cruella can. And she walks in and she sets her white cape aflame and she reveals that red dress. Oh, no matter how many times I had seen it before that moment, it gave me chills. I was excited. I thought it was amazing. I rewound and watched it again. I mean, that moment I could watch time and time and time and time again, and it would never get old. It is the perfect entrance of Cruella into, like, she's like, I'm fully embracing Cruella, and then she ends up staying in Cruella, which is amazing. Like I said, definitely one of my favorite parts of the entire movie. So immediately following that, pretty much, is a really downer moment, another moment that I cried when she realized that it was the Baroness actually killed her mom. She realized about that dog whistle, and she realized that she called the Dalmatians on her mother to kill her mother. So really, it wasn't her fault. She's been carrying around this guilt this entire time for years and years, and now she's realizing that it's the Baroness. So she has somewhere to focus this anger that she's been dealing with, and it unlocks something incredible. But in that moment, it was very sad when you see her there, and she's got the makeup all over her face. It's just absolutely an incredible moment, and I absolutely loved it. She killed her like she was nothing. I mean, Emma Stone crushes this role. It's amazing, and that leads into this just wave of inspiration and into the next emotional moment for me, a moment where I just sit and smile the entire time, is this red carpet arrival montage where you see all these dresses and all this stuff she's doing just to upstage Baroness, right? There's the time when she goes and she stands on top of the car and she whips her skirt around and just covers the Baroness up, which is amazing. But then there's that trash dress. Like, what? That thing was insane. And the fact that during the interview with the director, they said it was like a real thing. Like, they had to attach a 60-foot train to Emma Stone after she got on the garbage truck, and it really was flowing down the road. Like, it's insane, and that's why it's just so amazing. That entire montage of her showing up, I just smile from ear to ear, and I get chills every time. I love all of the fashion and the music, and it's just, it's pure perfection. It really, really is. It's absolutely pure perfection. So the next emotional moment for me is when Cruella discovers that the Baroness is her mom. Like, that's kind of a big deal, right? But I kind of have to couple that with the Baroness trying to kill her, and where you think maybe she's gonna die. She's started this fire, and you don't know why, and then immediately she's rescued, right? And then she gets the information that the Baroness is her mom, and it kind of all clicks together. So it's kind of that moment of, I guess, that story and learning the actual background that the Baroness was like, oh, no, listen, I'm pregnant, this is horrible, I can't care about anybody else but myself, so just kill this child, please, get rid of it. You know, that whole moment right there tied up, I have to connect all those moments together, but that, like, light bulb, you know, was just like, what? I did not see it coming that the Baroness was her mom. I kind of thought maybe she was her grandmother or something along those lines, but I never, ever suspected she was her real mother. So that completely shocked me. And so that was a very emotion-filled moment. That whole thing with her trying to be killed in the fire, and then she's learning about her that's her mom, and it's like all these pieces connecting together. It's just absolutely a ball of emotions, like so many different emotions. And so I had to mention that moment, and it has to be a collective because it was like one hit after the other right there. And of course, I have to mention the next emotional moment is when Estella dies, right? You know that she's saying that Cruella is fine. Obviously, you know Cruella doesn't die because there's Cruella in the future. So, but that moment just was, it was kind of exciting. And again, it's Cruella being released, and she's fully embraced Cruella at this point. She is no longer Estella. There is no Estella in her. Estella is dead. She's gone, right? She is Cruella now. And the fact that coupled with this death of Estella, we get the Baroness getting arrested, and the explanation, again, which I love these little explanation voiceovers that they did and the way it was done in this movie, but with Emma Stone just saying, yeah, well, before she died, before unfortunate passing, Estella, you know, willed everything of hers to Cruella de Vil. And then when you got that last name, that was part of it too. That was just really exciting. And I love how Horace kind of jokes around and says, it's spelled like devil, but it's de Vil. Horace and Jasper, again, fantastic part of the whole movie. Just, they're absolutely great. I mean, Horace is hilarious. Jasper is the heart. I said that already, but it's true, and I absolutely love it. So that moment was a big emotional moment for me. And then, of course, we get that end credit scene where Cruella gifts Perdita and Pongo to Anita and Roger, and I absolutely love that. I love what it's setting up for the future. I'm sure we probably are not going to get a sequel, but if we do with these people, I'd be here for it. I mean, the cast was amazing and absolutely incredible. So those are the biggest, most emotional moments for me, but really this whole thing was just a ball of emotions for me. I loved this movie. I had chills. I was dancing. I mean, the music was amazing. I mean, listen, another moment that just right off the top of my head now comes to mind is when Cruella leads everyone outside of the Baroness's party to a rock fashion show that she has put on. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. The whole thing is just gorgeous to look at from beginning to end. And like I said, there wasn't a dull moment for me, even though it's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. And yes, they could have cut some stuff out, but I'm not mad at them leaving it either because I really enjoyed watching every moment. There isn't a moment in this movie that I wouldn't miss. Let's put it that way. So if you've already seen Cruella, and hopefully you did because I just talked major spoilers, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What were your most emotional moments? What moments stood out to you? What moments gave you chills? What moments made you excited? What moments made you tear up or cry or jump out of your seat and clap? I mean, just tell me what this movie did for you emotionally. I'm excited to get into it with you guys in the comments. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Go ahead and hit that notification bell if you enjoyed this content. And you can follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Mama's Geeky over there. MAMASGEEKY. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.